My stomach's growling too. So I'll be quick. But did these guys do a great job or what? Give it up. Jason, I wanted to ask you, you said this is your 13th.
Yep.
So do you remember how many people you had here at your first?
3. I'm going to say maybe 30. And they all weren't mine. I think I might have 1 or 2 on my team.
Right.
If I was lucky.
But look, guys, look around. I mean, what a great job. So I give it up for Jason.
Thank you.
Most of you have probably heard my story, but there may be some in here who have not heard my story. So I'm going to share that real quick just so you can understand my background and my perspective, where I'm coming from. But prior to Stream, I was with American Airlines for 17 years. I was a senior analyst of airport operations for American system-wide. So my plate was full. I was traveling a lot. I was one of those guys that was too busy to do anything else, and I wasn't even looking for anything else. But I got a phone call one day from a friend of mine that was someone I had known for over 10 years, had a lot of respect for. He was a vice president for a major international corporation. He also owned several franchises, and he was just one of those guys that always made money. And my wife and I knew that about him, and he called me one day out of the blue, and he said, "Steve, I found a way that we can get paid residual income on electricity. When people pay their electric bill or even their gas bill, we can get paid." And no one had ever said that to me before, and coming from this gentleman, I was intrigued. I knew if he was involved, there was money to be made. I knew the company would be credible, and I knew it was worth my time to listen. And when I saw the presentation and saw what this company was getting ready to do, I got excited about it, and we started getting people in front of the information as quickly as possible. Now that was in November of 2004. And I knew the company was going to launch in January of 2005. But what I didn't know was that I was going to get laid off the Wednesday before Christmas of 2004. Right before this company launched. And my wife was a stay-at-home mom. We had 3 girls at home, a house, 2 cars, life, right? I didn't have a college degree. You know, I graduated from high school, and I started at the very bottom at American Airlines as a baggage handler and worked my way up to the corporate level. And so this was a very scary time around my house. But I believed in the founders of this company. I believed in this industry deregulation. I believed in this compensation plan, and I felt like we had a unique opportunity. And quite frankly, I just went to work. Now, when I was growing up, I had a gentleman that was in my life that I call my millionaire mentor. My dad had on his board of directors, there was a gentleman that had just made gobs of money. He ended up owning 23 Taco Bells. He owned all the Taco Bells in Phoenix, Arizona, and Dallas, Texas. And he ended up selling them all to one guy. And so growing up, I got to learn from this gentleman. He would sit in my living room and teach me about business. And there were 2 lessons that I learned from this millionaire businessman that I implemented into my life and into my businesses. And keep in mind, this gentleman didn't have a high school education. He never graduated from high school. And he said, "Steve, in order to make up for that, I just learned to outwork everyone else." He said, "I always worked harder than everyone else." He started working for Taco Bell when he was 16 years old. And he would stay after, even when he wasn't getting paid. You know, and his boss would tell him, "You're not getting paid. I don't care." And he would stay and get the job done. He would do whatever he had to do. Well, this boss believed in him. And his boss was the owner of the Taco Bell. And there became an opportunity. There was a Taco Bell in their area that was owned by the corporation that was, well, it was then owned by the corporation. It was owned by a private person before, and it was completely shut down. It was, now this was a while back, obviously you don't see Taco Bell shut down now, but it was boarded up. It was completely shut down, and they had an opportunity to get this Taco Bell at pennies on the dollar. And so he cut a deal with Dennis and said, I'll bring you in as a partner. You help me run this Taco Bell, and you'll have an ownership stake in the Taco Bell. Dennis ended up getting that entire Taco Bell and buying it himself from the owner. And the second lesson that I learned from him, first lesson, outwork everyone else. The second lesson that I learned from him was build relationships that will do business with you for life. Build relationships that will do business with you for life. Now, if you ever visited one of Dennis's Taco Bells, if he was there, he was out sitting with the people and talking with them while they were having lunch at his Taco Bell. When's the last time you ever went to a Taco Bell and the owner came out and sat and had lunch with you and talked to you? Right? He did it all the time. Everywhere he went, he would sit and talk to his customers because they are his customers, right?
Yeah.
And he would sit and talk to them and build relationships with them. They would come back. I mean, Taco Bell's not the best place to eat. Can we all agree? Right? But they would come back to eat at Taco Bell. Why? Because they wanted to talk to Dennis. They wanted to be around Dennis. They couldn't believe the owner would come out and talk to them. And so, building relationships that will do business with you for life. Very important. How do you do that? There's lots of different ways. I think, if you look at the keys to having a successful marriage, right? Kind of similar, right? You can throw out things. What does it take to have a successful marriage? And we can talk about the different aspects of that. You think communication might be a part of that? Proper communication both ways helps in building relationships. See, as a leader, you've got to learn to communicate the right way with your team and build those relationships with people. How about people that aren't even on your team? How do you communicate with them? What message are you sending the people that tell you no? See, I've seen people that just cut them off. You're no longer my friend, right? I'll never talk to you again, right? And so they treat people the wrong way when they say no. Listen, you don't know when someone's going to turn to a yes. Some of my best friends told me no in the beginning of my business. Did it hurt? Yeah. These were my best friends. I thought for sure. I mean, if I had to make a list of all the people that were going to immediately join my team, these guys would have been on that list. Like, oh yeah, they're in. Matter of fact, I can tell you, when I did my first network marketing business, I'd never seen anything like it before. And I remember seeing the presentation, and I told my brother that night, when I signed up immediately. Because that's the kind of person I am. Whatever that color, whatever that makes me, I don't know. Right away, I saw it, I'm in. I signed up. And I told my brother that night, I said, I'll sign up 10 people this week. And I believed that. Why? Because I had this list of people that I just knew would get in my business right away. And so on the way home from that meeting, I called my first prospect because I knew they stayed up late. It was 2 air traffic controllers. The husband and wife both were air traffic controllers. And so I called them up. I said, hey, put a pot of coffee on. I'm coming over. I got to show you guys something. And I'd been to one presentation. Now they gave me this little box of information when I signed up, right? Sound familiar? And I went to their kitchen table and I threw this box down on their kitchen table and I said, just look through that and tell me why it won't work. That was my presentation. I mean, how could I do anything else? I didn't know. So they would go through the box and they were looking through the information and they would say, well, hey, do you know about this? And I was like, no. Well, how's this work, Steve? I don't know. Let's look and find out. We did this for 2 hours. And at the end of the 2 hours, they said, this looks great, Steve. We're in. How do we sign up? I said, I don't know. Call somebody. But I signed them up that night. Now, it was 11:30 by the time we got them signed up. And I called my brother on the way home because I knew my brother would be asleep. He worked for Delta at the time. I knew he would be sleeping. He had to get up early in the morning. And I called him and I said, I haven't even been home yet. And I already got my first associate. I told you, I'm going to kill this thing. I was very cocky, very young. 6 months later, I signed up my second associate. 6 months. Now listen, it wasn't because I wasn't trying. I was working hard. I was really trying to make it happen. And a lot of people told me no because I was young and I didn't know what I was doing. But I think I was just too dumb to quit, right? I was too focused. I was too motivated. And I kept building. I remember at one time, you had to have, in this company, you had to have, it was very similar to ours, but you had to have, like, if they don't all come, you know, don't freak out or anything. Because he could tell I was kind of ramped up, right? I was all like, this is going to happen tonight. I'm like, dude, you don't understand. I grabbed these people by the shirt. And they still said they were coming. So 15 of the ones that I grabbed said they were coming. So they're going to be here. And he was like, okay, well, just don't get upset if they don't all come. And I remember at 5 till 7, job one. But I'm like, you know, it's all right. It's early. 7 o'clock. Nobody. 7:05. Nobody. Not one person showed up at that meeting. Not one. It killed me. I was just like, are you kidding me? I still had only personally sponsored one person. And that night, I quit network marketing forever. I did. I went home and I told my wife, I said, obviously, I can't do this. I can't make it work. I've tried everything. I've just put everything. I don't even have time for this. And I quit network marketing. I was done. Anybody ever felt like that?
Yeah.
I do it a lot. I quit. And so the next day, I'm going into American Airlines, and we had to ride this tram into DFW. And sitting across from me on the tram was one of the dudes that told me he was going to be there. Not pissed, you know. I look at him, you know, I'm just glaring him down, you know. I'm sure I had fire coming out of my eyes, you know, and burning a hole in him. And he looked at me and he goes, Steve, I really wanted to be there, but we had something come up. He said, can you come to my house tonight and show my wife and I the business? Now I had to think about that because I quit the night before. But something just came out of my mouth. I was like, absolutely. I don't know where that came from. Absolutely. And so I go to his house that night. I show him and his wife the business. They get in the business. Now, this is a true story. The very next day, I'm at American. One of the guys comes up to me that was supposed to be there at the meeting. Same story. Steve, I really wanted to be there because I was just looking at him like, really, dude? So he says, we really want to be there. So I go to his house. I show him and his wife the business. They sign up. That was my third associate. I promoted to the first leadership position in that company. Went on to make hundreds of thousands of dollars with that company. It ended in an unfortunate manner. And you know, but it was a place that I learned network marketing, and I learned how to build a business. I learned how to overcome the obstacles. I learned the ups and downs of the business. And when this opportunity with Stream came along, I got to tell you, I was ready. I was ready to take action. I was ready to build. And so we went to work. And I knew that, you know, my wife being a stay-at-home mom, I had a little severance package from American. I stressed the word little. Okay, this was not a golden parachute or anything like that. It was about 6 months' pay before taxes. So you can figure out what that is, right? Little. And so I was backed into a corner when this company launched, and I got to tell you, I came out swinging because when I got laid off from American, I resolved in my mind, this will never happen to me again. And it was a very powerful resolution. I meant it. I said, this will never, ever happen to me again. Some of you need to make some resolutions today, whatever it may be. Because resolve is a very, very powerful thing. And I went to work. And over the last 10 years, it's been kind of an amazing ride. Some of you may have heard the story, but the severance package that I got from American, this is a true story. The very week that I ran out of money was the very week that we started getting paid with Stream. Wow. See, in the beginning, we didn't get paid for 6 months. We started building our business in November of 2004. The company launched in January of 2005. We didn't start getting customers until March of 2005. Most of those didn't go through. They had to be on the service for a month. Then they had to pay their bill. Then we got paid.
Jeez.
So we got our first check, you think November, and I think the first check was in June of 2005. So, very week that I ran out of money, we got paid. It's nice. Fast forward 10 years. And I don't say this to brag in any way. I want you to hear. I tell you that story so you understand where I've come from. Fast forward 10 years. The neighborhood that I live in now, I'll just give you the demographics. Attorney, 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 doctor, guy who sold his business for $1 billion, another attorney 2 doors down, and a network marketer. Every morning, I'm usually up by 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, 6:30. Go ahead, get my coffee, and I go into my office. My office is on the front of the house. So sometimes it's still dark outside, depending on what time of year it is. And I'm sitting in my office, and I see the doctor back out. He's gone. I see the attorneys back out. They're gone. And I'm still sitting there in my pajamas. Now listen, here's what you have to understand tonight. It's worth it. I didn't get in that situation by accident. I didn't get there by luck. I didn't get there by not working harder than everybody else. You may have to work harder here than you've ever worked in your entire life. And I'm sorry if no one's ever told you that. You may have to work harder than you've ever worked in your life. And it's not always fun. But here's what I can tell you. It's worth it. It's worth it. I'm going to close with this. I got to spend this past weekend with some of the top people in the entire industry. We had a mastermind event with Kyle Wilson, the founder of Jim Rohn International. How many of you have heard of Jim Rohn? Right? One of the, probably, in my opinion, the best motivational speaker of all time. I got to be at his 18-year business partner's home and learn from him. Larry Thompson, the co-founder of Herbalife. Eric Worre, Chris Widener, a speaker from Success Magazine. And to sit with these guys and mastermind and learn keys to success. And I'll give you some takeaways that I took away from that weekend. One of the things they shared was, you know, most network marketing companies have different levels, right, of leadership. So with our company, you have director, regional director, managing director, senior director, executive, presidential, national, right? And they said, you know, what happens in most network marketing companies is as people promote to those different levels and start making more money, they stop doing what got them there. They stop doing the things that get them paid, and they get into all of a sudden this management mode of people. Now listen, what do we get paid to do?
Bring in customers and bring in associates.
Anything else?
Nope.
No.
To love people and
It's-
make friends.
Gather customers, sponsor associates, teach them to do the same thing. Those are the only things you get paid to do. We don't get paid to be on Facebook. No offense, John. But the company doesn't pay you to be on Facebook. We don't get paid to send emails to our team. Nothing wrong with any of the things that I'm saying. But just understand, look at your day and look and see how much time you're spending on the things that get you paid. Because you might be surprised how much you're spending on things that don't get you paid. Focus on doing the things that get you paid. The best thing that you can do for your team is lead by example. Go show the way. Go do the things that you want your team to do. Don't tell them what to do, show them what to do. Go do it. Lead by example. And if you'll focus on doing the things that get you paid, you'll be fine in this business. Because what do? Over and over and over and over and over again. That's all we're doing. Sponsor associates, gather customers, teach others to do the same. Over and over and over and over and over again. The mistake that most people make is they go do it and then they sit and wait. Like, come on, Jeff, come on. Come on, go do something, Jeff. And we go and we sponsor, we sit and train for hours. And listen, there's nothing wrong with training your people. I totally agree. I think it was Jeff that said, take some time to sit with your new associate and train them, teach them the things that they need to do. Yes. But they don't have to know everything in the world. Don't spend so much time that you download on them and they still, after you leave 4 hours later, they don't know what to do because you dumped so much on them. Keep it simple so they know exactly what they need to do to get their business started. And matter of fact, say, okay, John, this is what we're going to do. Or, Jeff, let's go. Let's go. That's how you help people build the business is, I always learn from Presley. Who can we go show the plan to? Let me show you how this business works. Why? What are we going to do? We're going to go show the plan. We're going to go get some customers. I'm going to help you do your first few, and you'll learn how to do it, and then you can do it on your own. Then you can teach others to do it. That's duplication. That's what you've got to focus on. If you'll keep it simple and do the right things, this business works. The number one question that you have to answer for yourself is this worth my time? Is it worth it? Well, I can stand in front of the room and tell you it is absolutely worth your time. It's worth your effort because we all have a very short period of time on this earth, yes? Yes. What's your time worth to you? What would it be like to own your life? To have both time freedom and financial freedom? What's that worth to you? Listen, there's lots of people that talk about success and chasing after money. There's times that you're going to have to be all in. I got a family. I had to sit my family down in the beginning and explain to my girls why I was going to be gone for a little while, why I was working so hard, and what it was going to do for our family for me to do so. They have to be able to see the end at the beginning too, right? Right. And I used to work in 90-day blast, where I would pour myself in 9 days. Bust my tail. Because it takes that kind of focused effort if you want to have success. Now, if you don't, if you just want to play around with it and you just want to create $500 a month, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Hear me. If that's your goal, if that's what you want to achieve here, you can do it. But if you want to set yourself free financially, if you want to change your life, it is going to take massive, focused effort for an extended period of time. And the only way that you can do that, the only way you can survive that, is understanding that it's worth it. That you're going here. You're going to accomplish this. And when you set that and you say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do with my business. This is why I'm working so hard. This is where I'm going. When you resolve in your mind that you are going here and you are going to make it happen, I'm going to tell you something. People can see it in your eyes. They can hear it in your voice. It creates a fear of loss in them because they start to question, wow, I think he's really going to do it. And I'm going to tell you something. People follow people like that. When you are absolute and you're resolved and you know where you're going, thank you, then you're a leader. And who do people follow?
Leaders.
Leaders. Now when you know where you're going and you've resolved in your mind what you want to accomplish, it allows you to overcome all the inevitable obstacles that will get in your path. And I'm going to tell you something. When you don't have this set and you're not resolved to get there, you will quit at the easiest things. And that's what the masses do. Realize it? The majority of people quit because they're surprised by adversity. I had a business mentor that taught me early on. He said, Steve, successful people expect adversity. They're not surprised by it. When it raises its ugly head, they go, I knew this was coming. That's a part of the deal. If you're going to be a successful business owner, you expect adversity. And you learn to deal with it. You learn to overcome it. You learn to get around it or over it or through it. Because that's what successful business owners do. But the only way you can do that is if you've resolved where you're going. And you create those partnerships with your family, your kids, other people. You heard Jason mention working with other people that aren't in his business. That's what I call business alliances. And do they make you money?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, they do.
They may not. You may not see it right away. But business alliances make you money. Trey Dyer and I work together all the time. I don't make money on Trey. Trey doesn't make money on my business. But you know what? We make each other money all the time. You've got to build those alliances. You've got to build those relationships that enhance your business and make your business more attractive. Guys, if you'll do those things, if you'll work harder than everybody else, if you'll build relationships that will do business with you for life, if you'll stay focused and committed, long term, get through the ups and downs, that's a part of business. Don't be surprised by that. Stay focused and keep building. Those are the people that get rewarded big time in the end. And then everybody else says, they're so lucky. So lucky. I hope you'll be one of the lucky ones. Thanks for your time today.